mean, I think this is a good thing to have if you keep it on your truck all the time. Do you want to keep this on your truck the whole time? Because grabbing it from my backyard to put it on, I mean, it's aluminum and not really heavy, but if you're, you know, walking a long ways to get it on here, you know, it's not convenient, you know. But anyway, I took it out because I'm selling or at least I'm showing it to a guy who wants to see the snowblower that I just got from the trade with the, not the trade, he just gave it to me, you know, for the hauler. So I have it listed for $275. Quite a lot of people asked me about it, which is surprising because, like I said, I didn't think that we would, you know, get any snow. So snowblowers are really like a an abolished relic now, you know, from the lack of snow. But either way, you know, $275 is $275 and get it out of my yard, whatever. I figured it'd be easy for me to load if I took this out, you know. But it's kind of a not exactly the easiest way to load either. Still takes time. Okay, let's go meet the guy at the church. See if we sell this baby for $275. So, as you saw, they didn't buy it. And I'm like, $275 and it runs great with no rust and all that stuff and you don't buy it? And then I said, how come? They're like, oh, those corkscrew things didn't spin. I'm like, they didn't? I just tested it the other day and put the snow shovel removal tool onto it and gave it load and it was pulling it hard, you know? So I'm like, oh man, so maybe the gear is broken, because that was one of the suspected things that was wrong with it, you know, right? Is that the gear was stripped and that the auger wouldn't spin, right? But I tested it and it did spin. And we tested it extensively. So, I mean, I don't blame them for not buying it. Good on them for, you know, spotting the fact that it didn't spin. Because I would have felt, you know, kind of like a dick if I sold it to them and it was busted, you know. Well, now I'm going to go home and check the augers. And I guess I'm going to have to inspect the gearbox. I really should have inspected it. But, I mean, just preliminarily testing it, I couldn't find anything wrong with it. But, you know, I was running it in a parking lot. And I did the auger and it didn't spin. How about it? Well, I don't blame them, you know. Kind of a waste of my time, but at least now I know it doesn't spin. We got to go check it out. So this easy sale isn't as easy as it is, because now I got to fix the gearbox. Okay, let's test it. I guess I did the clamp last time, but I think it has something to do with, like, when you engage it, you could tell better. So I guess I'll just record it. You guys can tell me. You know what? Sometimes if you just add oil in it, it lubricates it better, almost like transmission fluid. Maybe I'll just add gear oil and see if it's more reliable. There's a fill hole here. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of oil in there. All right. Got some of this synthetic 7590 gear oil, trans and diff lube. This is essentially the same thing as the stuff they put in. How am I gonna squeeze it in there without making an absolute mess? See how it slips? Cut off the end to make it more narrow. Now it ought to fit in there. All right. Let's give this a try. Okay, here we go. Ooh. I'm just going to fill it until it comes out. Let's try it now. I want to make sure it always spins. Yeah, so as you can see, I could actually stop it. So gear's no good. I can't sell it this way. At least I know that the gearbox was indeed messed up. So I think I'm gonna have to either just list it as is with the stripped gears or fix it. Honestly, snowblowers today are not going for a lot of money, and it's a lot of work to change the gears out of there. A lot. But I tell you what, let's open up that sandwich a little and just see which gear. Okay, I've taken out all the bolts in the gearbox. It's a 3/8 on one side with a 7/16 nut.
And as you can see, some of the oil is leaking out. And if you can see, we have struck gold.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold!
As you can see, there are super tiny, minute gold shavings in the oil. So the gear is definitely stripped in this box. Question is it the worm gear from the impeller shaft, or is it the round gear that controls the augers? I think it's the round one, because that's the most common one. So I'm gonna try to pry the sandwich apart, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to get it, because look, there's only like this much of play. Should I take the shear pins out and kind of push it backwards? Maybe that might work, just to give us more space. I guess if the sandwich is completely open, it's not going to connect to the impeller shaft, and therefore we can take this out and take all the augers out. Do I want to do that though? Do I want to go through all that work to fix it, to make 300? Yeah, why not, right? It'll be fun. Not really. I've got a screwdriver here. I'm just going to pry it open just for a second. Ooh. Okay, there's all the Earl. Prying it open was easy. But I'm not going to be able to pry it too much more than this. Man, oh man. Gold! Looks like it's lithium grease in here. I'm looking at the gears. They don't look that bad. And not a whole lot of oil came out of it. Look. See? Look at that gold shine. I can feel the gears. They're decent. So maybe it's the worm gear? Let me take the shear pins out. Yeah. That moved a little. Look at that. Yeah, you can open this pretty well now.
Henry, I want to see.
I think maybe now we have room to actually take the augers out. Let's try to do that. Okay, check it out. I took all 3 bolts off of each side, and technically this auger should just come out. Flange.
gear looks good. And yeah, this is stripped. But this is it.
Here we go. There's the worm gear. It's filled with like, in the grooves, it's filled with like this gold stuff. Here, let me show you. Gold grease. It's grease and mixed in with gold flakes. I mean, it's not real gold, but that worm gear is good. See? Now, when you come down to this round gear here, I don't know what you call it. Strippaged. Definitely this one is stripped. See? There are some parts of it, like on the other side, that are okay. See? Like right there. And that was the reason why it kind of worked. It's because it was gripping onto that. But then once you tried to stop it, when it got to here, it just, you were able to stop it because it was stripped. So it's not really that hard. You would just slide these augers off the shaft, right? And I remember it was just banging it off, but it only went on one way. I think there's some key in there, but it's not terribly hard. Maybe I'll price it out and get a new gear. Clean this stuff out. Try to put the sandwich back. I'd have to silicone it or get a gasket. There's the flange is in good shape, right there. That flange goes sometimes. I've changed the flange before. But yeah, look at all that gold. And it looks like it was grease, not so much oil. I think like lithium grease would work, or just spray some spray grease in there would be all right. I don't know, it's not that hard, I don't think. The trick is to, once you get the new gear on there, is to slip on the sandwich, is to get that worm gear into the sandwich with the two sides compressed into this frame. That's the tricky part. But I mean, I think if you just work at it, it would probably work. Yeah, so you know what? I'm gonna go price it out and see. Stand by. So I looked real quick and went on eBay, and actually this gasket is good. It is open-ended here. I thought a part of it was broken and it was, you know, attached, but it is actually open-ended like that, because this is the front part where it doesn't connect to anything. So this is actually good. So I can save the gasket. Flange is good. And so I priced out, they actually call this the worm gear. I don't know what they call that, impeller gear, but whatever. This worm gear, it ranged between, I mean, I saw Murray and stuff, it was like between $13 and like $20. So to spend $20 to get it working, that's worth it, I think. So I think I'm gonna tackle it. I'm gonna order the gear. I'm gonna find the right part number by looking at the model number on the label, getting the parts diagram, making absolutely 100% sure that I get the right gear. Now we know it's called the worm gear. I thought this was the worm gear because this looks like a worm. This is like a regular cog gear, you know what I mean? Or Bendix gear, you know, but whatever, they call this a worm gear, so I'll get a new worm gear. And it didn't take that much to take it apart. It shouldn't take that long to put it back together again, right? We didn't have to split it in half, which is normally how I did it. If I knew you could do it this way, I mean, I don't know about getting this part back in there and this attached correctly. That's not going to be too easy, I don't think. But I'm going to clean this up and prepare it for the new gear after I order it. Yeah, let me clean it up so you guys can get a better look at it. All right. Well, my neighbor Andy, the Brit, came over and we're just talking and talking while I was cleaning. And I just, took a couple of rags, whatever, and it was mostly white lithium grease that was encased in here. So I'm going to put white lithium grease back in there, not the gear oil. That looks pretty good, huh? And that's not gold. This is steel. And as you can see, it's in good condition. Excellent condition. So there's nothing wrong with that. And cleaned up the gearboxes of the oil. It was pretty easy to do because the lithium grease was just basically capturing all the gold fibers and shavings and stuff. And it was pretty easy to clean. Right? So that's nice and clean now. We'll blow some brake fluid all around it just to get all the shavings out of there before I put it together again. And there's the gear. A better look at the damage of it. So it's definitely Dunsky, wouldn't you say? Would you all agree that this gear is Dunsky? See, these are okay right there. They're okay. They're not great, but they're okay. It's the other half of it where it's completely gone. Which is why it kind of worked, It would grip onto the teeth that were good and rotate it. With the momentum, it would do one revolution and capture it again. But then if you caught it right in the part where it was non-existent, it would stop. Get it? That's how it worked. It makes 100% sense. So yeah, I'll look into getting a gear. And we'll see about putting this thing back together again and then selling it for $350. Hey, I went through all the trouble to get it. Invest $10, $15, $20 on a new gear. Labor involved in putting it back together again. And then after I get that going, I'll actually wipe it down nice and clean, armor all the tires, give it an oil change, all that. And then it will be worth $350. You know what I mean? I thought $275 was too cheap anyway, because it's in excellent condition. There's no rust anywhere, so it's good shape. It'll be a nice snowblower, whether I sell it or not, I mean, I'm not going to keep it, but, I don't know. But, yeah, if we can get the gear on and the auger back on there, as easy as taking it out, man, to save the trouble of breaking the thing in half, that's a pain to break it in half. Because to get the plate that has the belt around it on the other side taken off from the shaft of the impeller takes a lot of banging. I mean, it's on there, you know what I mean? So it's hard to get off. So that to be able to change the gear this way without removing the impeller and the impeller shaft, that's a big shortcut. Splitting a snowblower in half is not fun, not at all. I've done it a lot of times and it's not fun. You're free to try it yourself, but I guarantee you're not going to enjoy the afternoon. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my attempt to sell it, getting a no sale due to honest feedback from the buyer. Hey, it wasn't spinning. Can't buy it, it's not spinning. I'm like, damn, I tested it. How can it not be spinning? Now we know why it was spinning when I tested it and why it doesn't spin because the gear, half of it is stripped, half of it isn't. I was testing it when it was catching on the part that wasn't damaged. Completely makes sense. And I mean, I'm glad I didn't sell it to them broken like that. I'd feel like a hero, But this is interesting. I mean, I find this interesting, and to be able to fix it would be cool. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. Hey, I'm Andy from Jericho.
See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.